Back in 2022, Soulframe was announced with a CG cinematic trailer offering a glimpse of its unique fantasy world. Soulframe, a fantasy free-to-play action MMORPG, is still in development, and we recently got an extended look at the game, with additional details also being shared by the developer afterward. And here, we're going to go over some of those key details that you should know. Story. The developer is crafting a rich world with Soulframe, and though those who have played its preludes, which is what the developer has dubbed its playtests, have already gotten a decent taste of its fantasy setting, the developer has shared new details for everyone to dive into. Specifically, Soulframe will see players playing as an envoy, a rogue ode looking to heal the curse of your former group that has corrupted the world. The developer has stressed on a few occasions that Soulframe is going to be heavily fantasy-themed, and is going to focus on themes such as restoration and nature. The latter in particular is, of course, something that is abundantly visible even at a glance, courtesy of the game's many, densely overgrown environments. Starting Island. The developer has been pretty careful in not calling Soulframe an open-world game, instead describing the free-to-play MMO as a game that will allow players to freely explore a large overworld. Exactly how large is that overworld going to be, however? In an interview via MP First, the developer recently revealed that Soulframe's starting island is going to be huge. The reason we're kind of avoiding the open world word is that we're spending a lot more time on density. If you're in Preludes 5 just dropped, a whole bunch of activities and that sort of thing, which is a system that we just put in. You'd be wandering around and then there'll be almost like a mini quest, and there's a banneret there. Or there's some cute little beavers that need to be rescued, and so on. That's how that works, they said. Character customization. Character customization is something that is a given in an MMORPG, and Soulframe, being an MMORPG, is, of course, going to feature it. As part of its recent showing, we got a decent look at its customization mechanics, which, interestingly enough, will see players customize the look of their in-game mother, a Night Maiden. Players will be able to customize her eyes, hair, skin tone, and more, which in turn will determine your character's physical attributes. Gear. Beyond cosmetic customization elements, you can of course expect a robust gear and equipment system as well. This is an RPG after all. For instance, you can equip various different pacts, each of which comes with unique idols, which in turn are special weapons of sorts that need to be charged up to be used. In addition to that, there are various armor pieces and armor sets, helms and weapons, with different gear pieces bringing unique benefits and buffs. The developer says that the game will encourage plenty of meaningful build variety, allowing players to tailor their character to their preferred playstyle, including ranged options. Mastery. Interestingly, it's also been confirmed that Soulframe will feature a mastery system. Speaking during the aforementioned roundtable interview, the developers explained how it will tie in with other systems, including your aforementioned pacts, your levels, and more. It actually does have a mastery rank system, they said. You have your envoy, which is your character, and then you have your pact, which is your cursed armor. Your pact is a class that you can level up, and then for every pact you level up, your envoy gains a level. And then they have 3 RPG stats that are what we call virtues, and that feeds back into the system as well. Ancestors. One of the key systems in Soulframe is going to be Ancestry. Specifically, the action RPG will allow players to recruit and bring back various ancestors to the Nightfold, which is essentially a hub location tucked away in an alternate dimension.
Yes, I know it's not a real world.
Every ancestor is essentially an expert, each boasting different skills that you can make use of in various ways. Verminia, the Rat Witch. A new ancestor in Soulframe that we got a look at during the game's recent gameplay presentation was Verminia, the Rat Witch, who's going to be particularly useful for players time and again. The so-called Rat Witch will not only enhance the customization of your cosmetics, she will also enable you to concoct various potions and elixirs. Enemies. The developer's recent showing of Soulframe also offered us new glimpses at some of the enemies that we will be locking horns with in the game. One enemy that we saw quite a bit of in a combat encounter in the recent gameplay is apparently a recurring foe. Wielding a Tesla-coiled staff, this enemy is capable of manipulating thunder and electricity, so these encounters should prove interesting, in theory at least. Another enemy that we got a brief glimpse of was Bromius, who's an armored bear, although we don't know much else about him. Early Access launch. The wait for Soulframe has stretched on a couple of years, but the developer says it won't be much longer before we're playing it. The developer says the game will have some form of an early access launch later this year. Exactly what that means remains to be seen, but though we don't have a date, or do not know exactly what the scale of the game's release will be, the developer has said the game's preludes will be opened up for everyone in the fall. There are also going to be Founders Packs available for purchase. Beyond that, this is of course an entirely free-to-play game. Potentially rough release.
What are you doing?
The developer is being quite honest as it sets expectations for Soulframe's early access release later this year. As per creative director Jeff Crooks via WCCF Tech, the game is going to launch in a potentially rough state, though as per Crooks, working on the game based on feedback from players is going to be central to how the developer handles things, just as many developers do with their games in early access. The closed testing we've been doing with our community has been so impactful, Crooks said. We've learned a ton, and we continue to listen and learn each day. We're hoping to open this up to a lot more players this fall. Everything's still rough around the edges, but that's part of our style. The feedback is important to us, and we really do iterate on it regularly.
So what are your thoughts on this? Go ahead and share them in the comments below. And if you like this video, please subscribe to the channel and enable all notifications by clicking the bell icon to get new video updates. We upload every day and would really appreciate your support. Thanks for watching.